Hello, my friends. Welcome to Lifejoy. I'm Dr. Rebecca, the Lifejoy coach and author, and it is joyous to be with you. This is the Sunshine Study, where I offer one-to-one life coaching and counselling. And we love sunflowers because they are tall, they are golden, they seek the light, but when the storms come, they hold one another together. And I love the idea of seeking the light, looking for goodness, for the treasures of everyday life, but also offering love and support to each other as we go along our days together. So I thought I'd do quite a short video today, but to think about how long it takes us to get to places. Now, I am very much a late starter in life in lots of things. Illness has delayed me, but also slow doesn't mean stop. So I was a slow girl for a long time, but I realized that the snail's pace still had merit. And I want you to realize that. If something is taking you a long time and you really love it and it gives you joy and it helps other people, then it has great benefit. Don't forget that. I learned this lesson doing one A-level at a time and doing a very slow part-time first degree because I was so ill. And I had a lot of people laugh at me. I had a lot of people who were in compassionate positions not be compassionate and say, what's the point? This is useless, it's worthless. You're going so slowly, you won't be finished by the time you're 40. By the time I was 40, I had a prize-winning degree, a distinction at Masters, a 5-1 doctorate, I'd written a book, and I had clients. So they couldn't tell me at 19 where I would be at 40. I was still half dead at 40, but I had plodded on. So today's video is the plod on perfectionism that is a really wonderful thing. So be perfect in your plodding. It's the only place I'll say perfectionism is good. So I want you to think about the plod. Where are you plodding? Just gently, just graciously, and taking the wins. It may be that you have a very restricted life. You're dealing with a ton of illness or care responsibilities or pain or intractable circumstances, and you are just trying to get through each day. And that has great valor, that has great admirability in it, and it also has great courage. So I send you my love and prayers and admiration. And if you're just plodding through a season of life that feels like you're not getting anywhere, you're just grinding through the days, you may be doing much better than you think. I wish I'd had somebody tell me when I was 22 and the slowest student in the world and on about 30 weeks a year in bed or housebound, that the plod was perfect at the time. Don't forget that. Plodding is perfect, but that also plods can speed up or slow down or be paused for a while. And progress is still being made because you're still you, you're still growing, you're still giving, and there is still another time to keep trying. So one of the big things that I have plodded through is to get to YouTube. And I really loved it. And I was quite late in getting a fancy mobile phone. So I had what we would call a brick for many years. And so I didn't have internet on my phone. And it wasn't until my lovely mum was very ill and my dad and I were talking all the time between visits. And if he'd been to visit her, he would ring me. He decided, and likewise, that we would have a better phone each. We would have the same phone so that we could learn it together, but that we could communicate much more carefully. So suddenly I had a camera, I had a video, I had all these apps. It was just amazing what a fancy phone did for us. We call them a fancy phone. It wasn't really posh or expensive, but it was a big step up. So that's where I found YouTube. And one of the things that I used to do when my mum was very, very ill was I would play videos because I thought she could still hear, because I thought I'd run out of my news, but I'd play inspiring things for her and I to hear together to just keep us going. 20 minutes of getting us through a difficult hour. So YouTube was immensely valuable to me then. And I'd try and find somebody that I pretty much was certain that she would like and that I would love as well. So this was 10, 15 years ago, I found it. And I remember thinking, wouldn't it be wonderful to be part of that in some way? So it didn't take me 5 years or 10, it took me 15, but I'm here now. And 10 years ago, I was 10 years younger and, all of the things that go with that. And I remember 10 years ago thinking I wasn't young enough or pretty enough or thin enough or any of the enoughs to do it. And then suddenly, a couple of months ago, I thought, I'm never going to be younger. This is never going to get easier if I keep putting it off. Let's just try. And thank you for your love and support in the trying. It has been utterly delightful. So it took me at least 5 years to do this because I had a gap during the pandemic where I could have started, but I was nervous. So in that, I just thought, well, I'll put it in my development plan. So it went on the plan and it just kept getting shuffled along, but it was still there. I wrote 5 books in the meantime. I've had thousands of one-to-one clients and hours with them. But the thing I wanted to do was this, to support them and generate more work. So I'll be totally honest about that. We have to promote ourselves to find clients and help people. So I started to watch a lot of YouTube and I watched lessons on how to do it. But I also found that there were certain people who put their YouTube videos out on certain days and I looked forward to them. They were 10, 20, 15 minutes of relief, of delight, of insight, of entertainment. And I think we all need that. And I was quietly learning all the time. And that's a really wonderful thing. So I thought I would list the people that I have loved most and suggest that you check out because they've helped me enormously. And one of them was so gracious to me this week. I put a comment in their comments and they were just encouraging. So I wanted to share them with you and I'll go through the list now. So the first one I have listened to countless hours was Oprah. And I've also listened to countless hours of Dr. Maya Angelou because they have filled my soul and kept me going forward. So go and check them out. They keep teaching, I keep learning. Now, the person who was so utterly gracious to me and is lovely fun and huge amounts of knowledge about frugal living, minimalism, working hard and family life is Kate Caden. Go and look her up. You are a K squadder. That's what she calls her people. And she does videos on a Friday. And I have learned lots about budgeting, about appreciating life, about time management. I have loved it. So go and look her up. She really is a joy. Somebody else I really loved was Ali Lives Well on Less. And she's a retired teacher and she lives on a small teacher's pension. And she has a mad dog, but she talks about frugal living. And I love frugal living and minimalism and generosity in that too, looking after our resources. So go and check them out because they really have entertained me. Ali Lives Well on Less and Kate Caden. My friend, Suze Milborn, runs Money Made Magic and I saw her very first video and I was inspired. And she started her YouTube channel about a year ago and I think I've watched every video, so go and look her up and be inspired. And I've also done a course with Jane Lindsay and she runs Snapdragon Life. And you will love that because if you love crafts and nature and art and history and development, all of those things are there. So they are my favorites. I'm just checking my list. But anybody who is offering something inspirational has helped me. And also I've watched a lot of news and assessment and analysis. So I've tried to learn, but I've allowed YouTube to be a place of sanctuary, refilling my soul, refreshment, but also knowing that there's always something more interesting to come. And I've loved that. And I would like to be part of that conversation. So how we draw all this together was when I was an undergraduate, the very first lecture I went to, which was Politics 101, Introduction to Politics, the lecturer said 2 things. They said, we read a degree so we can be part of the conversation of life. Oh, I love that. So I hope I can be part of this conversation. So please leave your comments and the channels that you love that have helped you. But also within that lecture, I suddenly saw what was possible. Because when you have a degree in political science, you see how the world works, you see about extremism, you see about tolerance, you see about learning and listening and giving, and where we make terrible mistakes and where we do well. Politics is about humanity and history is about the deeds and learning from both. So when I was doing 1/6 time of that first degree, and everybody was saying, there's no point, Becca, why don't you pack in? And why don't you just go home and do an OU degree? Or why don't you just not bother? The number of people who said, don't bother, what's the point? And I thought, I will never be 19 again and giggling on some steps outside a lecture, talking about essays. and then going in to find the first seat I could possibly find because I couldn't stand up for any longer. And could I last the hour? And then usually there'd be a kind lift outside for me to take me home. That was privileged living. Now, when I look back on that, even though it was plod, 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 plod. So if you're plodding towards YouTube, you're plodding towards anything, take pleasure in the plod. Take care, my friends. God bless, be safe. Please like, subscribe, go and check those other channels out. And it is joyous to be with you. I shall look forward to our next time together. Take care. God bless, be safe.